Initially I planned to release videos more frequently when I uploaded my Yorichi video in February. However, you can see that didn't really work out, but I promise I had a good reason. I was kinda busy with something else. After playing for a whole month to finish the game, I can safely say that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is one of my favorite games of all time. Maybe even the favorite, but it's still too soon to say that right now. There's a lot to love about this game. Spending time with these amazing characters, the fantastic soundtrack, the grand adventure you're experiencing, the fun mini-games. And yes, I'm not being sarcastic whatsoever, the mini-games in Rebirth are great. Fuck 3D Brawler and the third trial for the Flying Chocobo, but the rest is absolutely fine or even amazing. Okay, where was I? You have tons of comedic moments and most importantly, a super fun combat system. For me personally, gameplay is always the most important part when it comes to games, and action RPGs are my absolute favorite genre. Kingdom Hearts 2 has always been my favorite game for a very good reason. It has a timeless look, probably my favorite soundtrack ever, a great story, which is very rare for a Kingdom Hearts title nowadays, and last but not least, peak gameplay. It's hard to explain why, but ever since I played Kingdom Hearts 2 back in 2005, I was always looking for a game that felt like this. Fast-paced fights, a certain weight you can feel when fighting enemies in the air. There was never another game like this. Especially air combat was a heavy problem to find. In almost all the games I've played over the years, I was basically stuck in one spot once I jumped and started attacking. Yes, it's not realistic to move forward when hitting the air, but is reality seriously stopping me from enjoying the game mechanic? When the FF7 Remake released, I had no idea how it would play, but I heard that many people from the team that created Kingdom Hearts 2 had also worked on this game, so I definitely had hopes that I could like it, but I wasn't too hyped. When I finally played it, I liked it. A lot. I honestly didn't exactly know why, but I had a lot of fun with the game, and it was also the first time I really played FF7 in general. I can't even remember when I played the original on Steam, but I stopped after 6 hours. The remake, however, amazing game. It's probably the best looking game I've ever seen. I love the characters, especially Tifa. The story was really enjoyable and the gameplay got me pretty hooked. Besides the obvious use of spells, I loved the feeling of just attacking enemies. Cloud Sword was great and all, but whenever I had the chance, I switched to Tifa. And my god, is her gameplay satisfying. Fast punches, power-ups, jump kicks, uppercuts, combos, the drill, the killer move we all know and love. Everything about her feels perfect, except one single thing, the air combat. And it's not just Tifa, air combat in general is ass in this game. You just automatically jump to an enemy in the air and attack it. It feels awkward, clunky, and is pretty much the only complaint I have with the remake combat. But honestly, there weren't many air enemies to begin with, so I didn't care about it that much. Not even when Rebirth was around the corner. I was just curious how the game would play and what would be different. And oh boy did it change. The basic part of the combat was still like in the remake. Tifa had the absolute satisfying bone-crushing normal attacks, the buff, the combos and all the different abilities, but in addition to that we now also had sync moves. Sync moves were introduced in the Yuffie DLC from the FF7 Remake and are basically real-time team attacks which blend seamlessly together during fights. There are different types of attacks which can be performed with almost all your teammates. There's a shield to block, a dash and most importantly a launch into mid-air. Not only does Tifa perform an uppercut when being launched, she can now also stay in the air and fight. And no, she's not limited in her movement because you can dodge endlessly through the air and attack. There are even abilities to use in the air to continue your combos afterwards. The only way to fall back to the ground is either being hit, let yourself fall, or use certain abilities who require you being on the ground. The air combat went from absolute dog shit to being almost at the same level as the ground combat. This is a clip of me accidentally launching an enemy slightly into the air and immediately going for the highest combo I could perform on the fly. Tifa's dodge also changes when she buffs herself and it feels so satisfying to dodge, attack with a few kicks and then dodge again, before releasing all of my saved up energy and just ruin my opponent. People say that FF7 Rebirth's combat falls apart when you're forced to do a 1 vs 1 unless you're playing Cloud or Yuffie. Despite them being traumatized by this absolute horse shit mission and Red 13 also having an amazing moveset, what about Tifa? If I could pick any character to do a solo run of this game, it would absolutely be Tifa. Everyone in this game can parry, so what do Yuffie and Cloud have what Tifa doesn't have? More AoE? I reverse Gale don't think so. Kingdom Hearts 2 was my favorite game with my favorite combat system for years, and the only other recent game that rivaled this was Armored Core 6. Armored Core 6 super fast, dodge heavy fights feel so good, and I didn't know I was into mech games before this release. But why do I mention this now? Disclaimer, the following scene will contain a boss fight mid-game, and if you're a viewer who hasn't played the game and doesn't want to be spoiled, you should leave a like and subscribe before closing this video. Because you're suddenly fighting an Armored Core in Rebirth. Well, a rather small Armored Core, but you get my point. And the best part is that Tifa herself plays like an Armored Core. This game suddenly became Armored Core.
Yes, this will do nicely. All right, ready? Go on. Worthless hunk of...
I didn't read too much into different opinions about the game, because most of the time they are wrong and say that the Digimon Cyber Sleuth story sucks when it's the coolest shit ever, but I feel like many people don't enjoy the mid-air combat as much as I do. And I get it. The dodge in the air feels and looks a little off, but you can close gaps so fast and easily I don't fucking mind. Rebirth gives you so many combat options. Basic combos, abilities, limits, parries, sync moves, summons, synergy attacks. Oh yeah, I haven't talked about synergy moves at all, have I? Here, look at how Tifa and Aerith try to mimic the most iconic lesbian couple ever. So yeah, the combat options are insane and you can combine literally everything you have in your arsenal. FF7 Rebirth was really one of the most fun games I've ever played, and in less than a year I played 2 of those. But since Rebirth is a more traditional action RPG and not a fast-paced mecha war game, I wanted to talk about it in more detail. I mean, this is more of a Tifa video and less the combat with all its potential, but I was playing Tifa for most of the time and that's how I experienced how fun the combat really is. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll try to make more videos again, but even without Rebirth I like the time right now. But I had a really fun time working on this, so I'm super motivated to come up with more video ideas again. So have a great day and stay safe.